Good evening, everybody. This is Beyond the Buzzer for the wonderful date of, wow, Kyle, this year's already going by fast, January 18th, 2021. This is the Martin Luther King edition of the show. I'm your
Indeed.
host, Danny Thompson. Check with you tonight. Also, 3pointconversion.com, senior NBA writer, as well as the co-host of the show. And for those who've never watched this show before, shame on you, but also welcome the first time as well. And all to our usual listeners and viewers, also, thank you for tuning in here onto Zingo Television, I-95 Sports, as well as YouTube and every other single platform. Myself and to the man to the right of me, my tag team partner. Like I said, we are the new version of the Outsiders. I just don't have anything with the with the curly hair or the Razor Ramon change. But this guy to the right, there we go.
There you go.
He is Mr. Nash himself. 3-point conversions own and college football writer, my main man, the student of the game, Mr. Kyle Nash. How you doing, my friend?
What's going on, Danny Thompson? I love how you refer to us as a tag team. What you is so sweet that we help you prepare for dessert. Scoop, there it is. I'm sorry. I just really like that commercial and I wanted to shout it out.
Listen, if you started dancing and throwing sprinkles everywhere, it would have been well worth the 1 hour of television. So,
chocolate, scoop. Okay, we're good.
I mean, yes, because listen, this was an interesting week. And before we start into the interesting week, let's talk big shout out to our good friends at Valor, as you see over my left-hand shoulder at valor.us. Check out them for all your marketing needs, for also GIFs, commercials, and music as well, too. And our good friends at Mentality Barbershop, 2611 North Pine Hills Road, out in Orlando, Florida.
Those are gifts, Danny Thompson. Damn it. We do not preach peanut butter on this show.
Listen, I was about to say the gift that keeps on giving. Give me a second, sir. It's going to lead to the perfect segue of the show.
No, I have a reputation to uphold. That's not your fault.
Hey, listen, General Akbar. All I'm saying is this.
Admiral!
Listen, who got a gift this weekend? The potential AFC champion Buffalo Bills got a humongous potential gift yesterday. Let's start with the NFL because, like I said, the NFL is going to pretty much dominate the beginning of the shows up until the Super Bowl in Tampa. Because here's what happened. The Buffalo Bills went in on Saturday night, Kyle, and we'll start with them first. The Buffalo Bills went in and really – Kyle, they dismantled the Baltimore Ravens at home in front of Bills Mafia, 17-3. Kyle, listen, I've given Buffalo a lot of crap on this show, and I even said they were going to lose. All right, I believe
you did.
Don't
you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Listen, I'm taking my lumps for this one. All I'm saying is, I said that they were going to. Yes, and that was Lamar Jackson face planting.
Oh no!
Listen, this is way before the concussion. Okay, all right, because that concussion had nothing to do with that pick six in the end zone either.
Yeah.
So the Baltimore Ravens basically laid an egg on the road. They could do nothing. The Buffalo Bills defense, who I didn't know what to expect against this type of offense, I guess being around Lamar Jackson enough. Did Josh Allen in practice did enough damage. Lamar Jackson didn't do anything. I'm still wondering to this day, why was Mark Ingram a healthy scratch in a game like this? The Ravens couldn't get the ball down the field. Lamar Jackson needs some kind of quarterbacking help, and the Buffalo Bills just did enough. And that Stephon Diggs fella is pretty good as well, too.
Hey, listen, it's funny. You give yourself your lumps for picking the Ravens, but Danny Thompson, I can't help but notice that you yourself also made observations that led to the outcome of this contest. You yourself have said you don't like the Ravens offense as a complete concept because they have no downfield threats. And listen, I'm technically slightly wrong because I mentioned the Bills defense as an aside. If I remember correctly, the comment I made was something along the lines of, oh, by the way, the Bills defense is pretty good too. Yeah. Apparently they're really awesome against a one-dimensional offense. And listen, I know everybody's back on the bandwagon of, oh, see, they figured out Lamar Jackson. Hey, listen, they're going to stop any team like that comes out one-dimensional and can only run the football. That's a real easy stop for them. And listen, in that defense's defense, so to speak, they were a big part of what it amounts to a 14-point swing, right? It's one thing to intercept the ball in the end zone and make the red zone stop. It's another to take that piece back to the house for a cha-ching, okay? I don't know if that's a term, but damn it, I'm doing that now. So when you do all that, you take it back for a cha-ching, That's the damn game, quite literally. It's a game of inches. They tell you that all the time on any given Sunday. Danny, I'm just saying.
I just think, the Ravens disappointed me. Like I said, even though as good as Buffalo's offense has been, to hold them 17 points, I'm okay with that. You did a good
that's
job.
amazing.
Josh Allen had been going through people left and right all season, and Stephon Diggs. We've seen it. We've seen this all season.
And again, repeat your own point, sir. That defense did hold up. Remember, you said 17 points. No, sir. 7 of those are scored by the defense, correct? That's 10 points on offense, homie.
And that 10 points was a great catch by Diggs in the end zone. Very simple.
Because Stephon M. Diggs, the MVP of the Buffalo Bills.
Here we go with you again.
Don't make me wrong. Don't make me wrong.
Listen, there's no wrongness on here. If you're in the chat, by all means, leave comments for me and Kyle, because like I said, we'll answer them on air as well too. So listen, the Bills took care of business at home. Now, what we didn't expect was the Kansas City Chiefs for 3 quarters were handling business, Kyle. They were handling business. Now, it was going to the point in the fourth quarter. It was getting scary. The Cleveland Browns were sticking in the game, but like I mentioned before in 3pointconversion.com, I mentioned the same thing was, listen, you knew it was coming. They were going to score points. What we didn't expect was Patrick Mahomes to catch a concussion.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes caught a concussion, and basically everybody in Kansas City was running to the nearest barbecue stand, because if they lost that game, barbecue sales went up because somebody would have been drowning in barbecue sauce.
So yeah, I want to talk about the collective breath filling Arrowhead Stadium.
Listen, the collective air in the stadium went down when Patrick Mahomes was 31. And to the life of me, did Andy Reid not learn from the leg injury that Mr. Mahomes had last year in the regular season? Patrick Mahomes should not be the guy running the ball anywhere on third down. Okay? All right. Listen, I know, Kyle, it's a fluke play, but Kyle.
Moreover, if it weren't a playoff game, I would agree with you. That's where I'll sit.
Listen, give the ball to Derek Williams, give the ball to Hilaire, go get the ball to Christian Okoye, Barry Ward, I don't care who you call, Larry Johnson, Jamal Charles, I don't care who you give the ball to. Patrick Mahomes should not be running on third down.
Priest Holmes. I mean, listen. Danny, here's the thing. I can dunk on you with your own speech. Are you ready? I remember somebody giving me a hard time for using, what's up, Rodney? I miss you, man. We miss our biggest troll. The whole piece of this here is your own statement in the past. Granted, we're talking about earlier in the season. You were giving some coach a hard time because they handed it off to the fullback instead of the runner. That's a big name. One, Christian McCaffrey, perhaps you remember.
Mm-hmm.
You always put the ball in the hands of your best player.
But
Andy Reid does that, and you got a problem. You can't have it both ways, homie.
Yeah, Kyle, this is different, though. Giving the ball to a fullback instead of Christian McCaffrey is one thing. Putting your franchise quarterback in danger is the other one. On an option play, this wasn't a simple quarterback sneak, Kyle. This was the option. They went full-fledged Nebraska 1995 Tommy Frazier option on third down.
I'm listening, and it probably will work. I didn't say it. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, if everything goes without incident, we're not even talking about this. I mean, that's the beauty of football, right? Like, you never know what's going to go on. And I'm not talking trash on you for evaluating it. Quarterback safety is always a good topic. But because this is a playoff game and it's Patrick effing Mahomes, and Andy Reid put the ball into his best player's hands to make a play, as he's done so often on third down, it's hard for me to knock it.
I'm just saying, Kyle, you had Le'Veon Bell. You had other people to get the ball in the hands to. That's all I'm saying. Like, for me, I wouldn't have not – I know what you're saying. I'm the first one to say it, Kyle. I've said this on the show many times. You said it. The best player should have the ball in his hands. But unlike basketball, unlike, other sports, the quarterback – in most cases, is the best player on every single team. In most cases, all right. For at least half the league, the best player on offense is the quarterback.
Let's save that as a good offseason topic and analyze which teams where the quarterback isn't the best player at his position.
We could do that. Like I would say
because that's a fun combo.
I mean, yeah, I would say at least half. I'm just say at least half, just to put a number out there.
I'll agree tentatively, but I'm going to love diving into it. Let's keep going.
Okay. So I understand putting the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands, but I'm just not a big fan of using the option.
Oh yeah, and if this and if I'm overanalyzing it, if this is more of a philosophical discussion for you, I accept that. But I respect the fact that you are aware that both philosophies exist and have preached them situationally. That's what a good analyst does.
So at this point, Mahomes goes out with a concussion, and the scary part was when he tried to get back up and he fell.
Yeah.
That was the part that was scary.
Absolutely.
Mahomes runs off the field. He comes out with concussion. Chad Henne comes in the game, and listen. All right, Cleveland scores. It's 22-17. Kareem Hunt actually scores a touchdown and decides to go to sleep in the end zone. Love the celebration, by the way. The next possession, Chad Henne decides to think he's Patrick Mahomes, and the only difference is when Patrick Mahomes throws down the field, it's accurate. What Chad Henne was, he gave basically the Browns a punt because the ball that was a punt.
That looked more to me like there was a miscommunication there somewhere. I don't think he intentionally put the ball 15 yards off topic. I know it's Chad Henne. I get that. But it's hard for me to think there wasn't a miscommunication there. And, like, to be honest, the time of the game that Patrick Mahomes left is probably the worst possible in two ways. A, Danny, the fourth quarter is where he thrives the most. We've seen it 3.5 quarters. A half a quarter away from the 49ers becoming San Francisco. Bro, I get you. And then on top of that, it's late enough to where Chad Henne doesn't have a real time to, air quotes, warm up to loose a pass like that, in my opinion.
On top of that, the Browns had momentum because Kyle, in that first half, listen, the Chiefs should have put this game away in the first half. They did. There were opportunities where it was opportunities on both sides of the ball. Because remember, Rashad Higgins fumbled the ball at the end zone, trying to dive for the 6 points. I get him for doing it. Hate the fact he fumbled the ball in the end zone, but I respect the effort.
Oh, yeah, I'm not telling somebody not to do that. I know the Patriots have a rule not to do that in their locker room, for example. I don't know if I were running a franchise that I would ever do that. That's just an unfortunate situation. And there are a bunch of Browns fans talking about, oh, but Dirk Adair was an illegal hit. Okay, yeah, maybe it was. I get that. But it's not so much that changed the outcome of the game as much as Mahomes disappearing. It might have changed the victor. Well, but it didn't change the outcome. I digress.
Remember, you had a game where Harrison Butker missed an extra point basically for a field goal.
True.
And there were times where Kansas City didn't put the ball in the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
So Cleveland was in the game. They hung around the game. Mayfield didn't have a bad game. No. It just so happened in the third quarter, Cleveland did what everybody thought they were going to do in the very beginning, was run the ball down Kansas City's throats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I allowed the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl last season. They ran the ball.
Up doing it, yeah.
Yeah, the third quarter, I think they had 60 yards in that first series. When they got the touchdown, when they finally got on the board, they start running the football. And what happens when they run the football? The passing game start opening up. Kevin Stefanski was using humongous cojones by going forward. I think he went for it on 4 straight fourth downs.
I loved both those calls too, by the way.
It was three or four. He had 3 or 4 in a row when he was getting on fourth downs. They were giving the ball, and Nick Chubb was getting holes. He was running through the defense. The only question I have with the Browns in that fourth quarter was that last series when it was about to be 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. I didn't like the play calling. I just hated the fact that they got to 3rd and 9. They could not convert. And Kyle, I know it's 22-17. I know Mahomes is out of the game. I would have went for it on 4th and 9. I would have gone for it. What do you have to lose?
I can respect at the same time. I'm hearing you.
I think they were on like the 40-yard line. They were on their 40.
Were it Patrick Mahomes, would have gone for it. That's what I'll say. Keep going.
I would have gone for it. Listen, Mayfield was hitting Austin Hooper. He was hitting Jarvis Landry. They were getting separation, okay? It was just a bad play on 3rd down. I would have went for it. Worst case scenario, Kansas City has 40 yards to score. All right? If I get it, they're not getting back on the field the rest of the game because I'm putting Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and I'm going straight left and right with that offensive line. I would have gone for it. Most folks would have gone for it. I understand Stefanski punting to give his defense a chance with Myles Garrett to get after Chad Henne, but give Chad Henne credit. That was a hell of a throw on 4th down.
Exactly. If I said to you going into this game, especially you, Mr. Patrick Lavon Mahomes, the second MVP campaign manager MFer who looks stupid now that Chad Henne won the game. Chad
he had a concussion.
Won the game. I told you if he left the game, they'd be fine. I've said it all year, and Chad, anything is possible. You know what? You know why? You know why I'm going to call this game a successful journey for the Chiefs. A journey because it came out any way you want it, that's the way you need it. That's right. That's some 1980s band smack. What you going to do, Danny Thompson? That's right. No, but because it was Chad Henne, I would be confident in my defense making a stop there. And remember, like I said, if it's not a great play call, in my opinion, and execution on a 4th and 1, the defense did their job and got them to 4th down. And Chad Henne says, yeah, I've been at this for a minute. Let me hit this pass to Kareem Hunt, or
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, thank you.
But that was a great route by Hill, though.
Loved it.
I mean,
that's what receivers like him do. He's built for that.
It seemed like it was a similar route to the Jarvis Landry touchdown earlier too.
A little shorter, but yeah,
it was kind of the same. But they both were short. They were both short routes because I think Landry's touchdown was like 2 yards.
In this, yeah, I said a little shorter. Yeah, it was for one for in the spirit of is what I will say. Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, give the Cleveland Browns a lot of credit. Okay, they went to Kansas City.
I have to? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, listen, you know me. I thought the Browns were going to lose by 2 touchdowns. I give Cleveland a lot of credit. Listen, they played an outstanding football game. They took everything Kansas City had, and just a few plays here and there, they could have been winning this game. But now we have the late game on Sunday. Buffalo goes to Kansas City, and the real question is, Kyle, Patrick Mahomes is in protocol. Do you think Patrick Mahomes plays on Sunday?
I do.
I think so too. I don't think there's no way, unless Patrick Mahomes can't walk on that field, that they let Chad Henne play his game on Sunday. There's no way.
I reserve the right to answer this question again on Thursday once we have more news.
Of course.
But that's more for the people at home. You're not unreasonable unless you're talking about Patrick Mahomes as the MVP candidate. But
he's not the candidate. He's the winner.
No, he's the candidate.
He's the winner.
I listen, fool. If he gets it, you and I both know there are better options than him.
There's only one. There's only one other option than Patrick Mahomes.
2 better options than him.
Okay, then Josh yourself. Then at this point it's Aaron Rodgers, Charles Rodgers, and Josh Allen.
Incorrect.
No.
Aaron Donald's the other option. You're just not going to get it because he's a defensive player. Remember, it's a regular season award too.
I mean, I think Donald finishes in the top 5 because Derrick Henry's going to finish in the top 5 because he hit 2K.
Oh, I'm not saying Derrick Henry shouldn't be in the top 5. I would put, if it were me, because I'm an actual analyst and not some writer who just looks at numbers. I would put Aaron Donald ahead of Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry should certainly be top 5. No question.
I mean, I think all 5 guys we name are top 5 MVP candidates. I think Donald and Henry could swap at 4 and 5. Mm-hmm. I think Aaron Donald runs away as defensive player of the year. It's not even close. I think it's almost it should be unanimous. It should be almost unanimous. He was defensive player of the year.
And in defense of one thing, I agree with you, obviously. But the unfortunate thing for Jalen Ramsey doing what he does, he's gonna actually take votes away from Aaron. They're gonna take votes away from each other because Jalen Ramsey himself had a hell of a year. Now I can make the argument, and I would, that Aaron Donald's the reason for that, right? If somebody's in the backfield constantly, the chance of a bad pass is higher.
But also at the same time, Kyle, Jalen Ramsey also helps Aaron Donald because for those teams that only have one receiver and Jalen Ramsey shutting down that entire receiver, your quarterback's got to look for other options. And you have trash receivers at other spots, Aaron Donald's going to get penetration. Also, Leonard Floyd had a really, really good year too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But take Aaron Donald out of the equation, does all that still happen? You and I both know they don't do quite as well, right?
I mean, I agree with that. Like I said, but I think if Aaron Donald's 4 in the MVP voting, I wouldn't have an issue with it. I didn't have an issue with him being in the top 5. I don't. No. But listen, we have the Bills, we have the Chiefs. I think it's the late game on Sunday on CBS, the 6:00 game on Sunday. It's going to be a good one. All right, we already know it's going to be a good one. Let's switch things over to the NFC. All right, we knew Saturday that Aaron Donald would have had to put off a one-man. Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey would have put a 2-man defensive effort to stop the Green Bay Packers on Saturday. That was the only way they were going to win.
Well, because then you're already in trouble. Aaron Donald went into this game limited with a rib injury, right? So,
and Aaron Rodgers put on a show. He got it. He did it in the air, did it on the ground. It was a total Green Bay effort. Huge play by Allen Lazard. Remember, we talked about who was going to make the play. Was it going to be MVS? Was it going to be Lazard? Lazard made the huge play. You knew that Davante Adams, for as great year Davante Adams was going to have, it wasn't going to be spectacular because Jalen Ramsey, Kyle, I didn't know this going into the game, but only gave up 308 receiving yards all year.
That's correct.
That's ridiculous.
Mhm.
Okay. That's less than 20 yards a game? Literally. He gave up receiving. So yeah, you knew that Davante Adams was going to have a game, but it wasn't going to be a Davante Adams type of game. Aaron Jones did his thing. The Packers took care of business at home. They made sure that if you look at a stat that's amazing, for as great as Aaron Rodgers has been in his career, Kyle, he's never hosted an NFC Championship game until this year. This is the first time he's hosting an NFC Championship game.
And in 2 of those instances, it's the 49ers' fault. I know that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But in his Hall of Fame, I think Aaron Rodgers is the first ballot Hall of Fame. I think nobody disagrees with that.
Yeah, sure.
In a first ballot Hall of Fame career, it took him to year 827 of his career to finally host a conference championship game at home.
Year 827.
All right.
Does that mean that Brady's on the 1,046?
Listen, you transitioned me perfect to the old bowl. The old bowl was closed out the games yesterday.
The History Bowl, yes.
Listen, the NFC semifinal game, I call it a semifinal game, sponsored by AARP.
That's all right. They were both better than the Falcons Bowl. Correct.
Hey, we were playing against the 49ers yesterday, sir.
Yep, and the 49ers still won somehow being in.
Enjoy the draft pick. All I'm saying is this. So the story came out before the game that this was going to be Drew Brees was going to retire at the end of the season. And I don't know if this is the way Drew Brees wanted to go out either.
Oh, no, he went out like Brett Favre. It's unfortunate.
It was, and the Saints fail again at home in the playoffs. The Saints have had it's been like the last 3 years. They've just literally failed in the playoffs for different reasons. And yesterday, listen, the Buccaneers out-Buccaneered the Saints being the Saints. Tom Brady, yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure I heard that right. I need a whiteboard for that one. Keep going.
Exactly. What made the Saints great over the last 5 years was the fact of when the Saints offense is clicking. Michael Thomas is running that quick slant that nobody can guard in the league. You had Alvin Kamara doing things, Drew Brees hitting passes, Jared Cook not fumbling the damn football. You had a whole bunch of things over the last 5 years that was working to your advantage. Your other receivers making plays, and the Saints defense. Yesterday, Michael Thomas had 0 catches, Kyle, and four meaningless targets, caught 0 passes.
Granted, he was limited because I still think he's a bit nicked up. I don't want to take a single solitary thing away from this Bucs defense. You and I both commented that they would be the real big X factor and difference in the game, which, holy crap, we didn't know how right we were.
Listen, Devin White yesterday was turned into a superstar yesterday for the Buccaneers. Devin White was everywhere. Okay. Devin White was on Madden on rookie at linebacker, and you're playing a user. He was everywhere. 2 interceptions. His first 2 picks of the season. It seemed like he was on every tackle. If he wasn't, he was right there. It was like you know how good Devin White can go from side to side, but literally they couldn't figure nothing out. Levante David, Devin White, that duo was phenomenal. The Saints couldn't get any type of rhythm on offense. And listen, we talk about Tom Brady, and he has up and down moments, but yesterday was a extremely up moment. It wasn't a 300-yard day passing for Brady. He was a game manager yesterday, and he did a damn good job of it yesterday.
Sure. Listen, he is a game manager throughout his career. The difference is he could actually pinpoint a pass better than most guys get slapped with that label. But again, let's not lose anything here. I know everyone's talking about Tom Brady this, Tom Brady that. Folks, you better give some defense that credit because, to be honest, when Brady retires in the next year or 2, that defense is the unit you need to keep together to make sure you guys are still friggin' competing.
Unless you trade for Deshaun Watson.
That would be interesting. Different show. Let's move on. I do like the thought of that. I'm just going to talk way too much about it.
Listen, the Buccaneers now have to go on the road, and here's a question no one's really talking about. I think the key player in this game on Sunday is the health of Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones had the quad injury. We saw that the long run he had. It was in the 4th quarter. He came up gimpy. He was already gimpy with the quad injury when the game started. They're going to need him, especially if it's supposed to be cold, ugly, nasty, snowy, whatever Green Bay has to throw at you. You're going to need to be able to run the football, okay? Passing is going to be a problem. It's going to be. The Bucs and snow, Kyle, especially with Buccaneers receivers not used to this. They're not used to the cold. The only one used to it is Gronk. Okay.
And Brady.
Yeah, but your receivers. I'm talking receivers.
True.
Antonio Brown ain't played the snow game in how long?
It's been a minute.
Okay. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are used to playing games in Florida. All right. Scotty Miller, those guys are Leonard Fournette. Those guys, last time Leonard Fournette played in the cold was the AFC Championship game against the Patriots. They lost. In a game like this, where you don't have the experience in a cold weather, in a potential snow situation, running the football is going to be effective. Okay. The Packers have plays in the Packers strength, and Jair Alexander is going to have a great matchup with Mike Evans on Sunday. All right.
I think you're just overselling just a bit on Ronald Jones. It'd be nice to have him. Obviously, a good one, too, is a great thing. I think Leonard Fournette is properly designed for the situation. I think he's a bit more beefy of a runner than Ronald Jones. And I think that's how the Niners dominated the Packers last year, with beefy ass running. And granted, it wasn't necessarily large backs per se that were doing it. It was just hard-nosed stuff. And say what you will about Leonard Fournette, he is that guy that can hard-nose. He had over 1,000 yards as a rookie in Jacksonville when he was the weapon.
I agree. But the thing is, the way Tampa is using him is not the same way Jacksonville is using him. It's not the power eye. It's not that. I
appreciate that. I'm glad you brought that up. What it's similar to in situation is when Jerome Bettis was forced to take over back when Willie Parker got hurt, and they ended up in the Super Bowl that year on his back, with Bettis being the only feature guy. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen with the Bucs, but if they have Fournette fill that role, I agree with you that he's not the guy, but especially for this particular game, Fournette can be the dude for one game. I really think it's going to be a situation that a difference can be made. Really, if Fournette fails against the Packers, that falls on the offensive line, unable to do things in the middle.
And also at the same time, I think, Kyle, another thing that Bruce Arians might want to use on Sunday is the fact of make Rob Gronkowski more of a blocker than a pass catcher.
Good man.
Because if you talk about trying to use power eye and using like fullbacks and those things, Rob Gronkowski can do that.
Yeah, he's an excellent blocker.
He's a sixth offensive lineman when he's held in. If you get him in motion and have Fournette run behind Gronkowski and run behind the right side of the offensive line, you're right. Fournette can make some damage. And Ronald Jones doesn't have to have 30 carries, but he has that ability to break one. Not a touchdown, but he can get you 25, 30 yards on a carry. That's what you need. You're going to have to make plays because the Packers are used to this. Aaron Rodgers wants this more. The Packers are used to being in this type of weather. They play in this thing on a regular basis. All right. The advantage is to their favor. Being at home, being used to this cold weather, and the fact of they're trying to win this for Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers needs one more thing for his legacy, he needs this one. You do not want to lose this game at home to Tom Brady. If you're trying to, I'm not saying Rodgers is in the GOAT conversation because he's not. But for Rodgers to be considered an all-time legend, an all-time great, you got to be Brady.
Not just a Packer legend, but an all-time. Yeah, I hear you.
You got to be Brady. You got to.
I hear all that. And the last thing I'll say, it's nice for Tampa to have the ability to have somebody break one off. I think it's more important to have a guy who consistently chunk off 4 and 5 yards. Again, I'd hate to use it, but it was such a good use it over and over, but it was such a good blueprint. What the 49ers did to these guys, having a passer literally only throw 6 expletive-deleted times, okay? Something you gave him a hard time for, if I remember correctly, back on the airways in 98 or 95. 95. There we go. The punchline is we needed to. Hi, Precious. We need to see the time of possession one and Rodgers off the field. And moreover, if the Bucs defense frustrate him like they did the first outing, well, we know what we have happen. And yeah, good call, Alex. Vita Vea being back in the game is, well, you'll pardon the pun, is huge, much like the man in question. I meant to mention that I forgot. Alex, excellent save by you. Thank you, sir.
Here's the thing. And the other X factor of the game, I think, is Aaron Jones for Green Bay.
I did forget about Cameron Brate. Good call, Alex.
And people don't remember Aaron Jones is a Pro Bowler. Because of the fact that you have Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers in the offense, the other Aaron gets kind of dismissed and played, but Aaron Jones is a Pro Bowler. I think that in a game like this, Aaron Jones is going to be needed. Now, what the difference between the first game and the last game was the fact of the weather was a bit different. It's a much more wide open game. And let's be honest, Brady wasn't good in that game either. All right. Brady was flat out awful in that game. And the field position, and the reason why the Packers blew them away is because the Packers had all the field position. All the early mistakes of the Buccaneers kept the Packers inside Bucs territory the first half. Remember the one touchdown that the interception Brady had, I think it was a pick six. He had a second interception, which led to a short Aaron Rodgers touchdown. When you're living in that side of the field the majority of a half, you're going to put points to the board. Doesn't matter. Aaron Rodgers is going to put points to the board. You cannot play field position with either one of these two teams. If you keep the Bucs stay on the Packers side of the field, the Bucs are going to score points eventually. I mean touchdowns. It's going to be which quarterback doesn't make mistakes and which running game can keep the other offense off the field. If Aaron Jones can control the game on the ground and Aaron Rodgers hits you over the top of play action passing all day, the Bucs can't. The Bucs are going to have to be playing hurry up.
You do realize they beat the Packers 38-10, right?
Talking about the Packers beating the Bucs 38-10?
No, I mean the Bucs beating the Packers 38-10. You have that backwards, my good friend.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Rodgers who threw the interception. I'm sorry.
Yes, you are. Or, yes, you're right. It's Rodgers that threw it. Sorry, I didn't mean yes, you are. I'm not talking that much trash.
Sorry. Listen. I had my moments, okay? Listen. Hey, listen. I was using my Lamar Jackson in the red zone logic. I'm sorry.
Oh no! Well, I'm glad I could take it back to the house to save the game.
And that's what you did. When you reminded me that the Buccaneers blew them out, that was your pick six in the end zone because I literally was locked in on them winning that game. I'm sorry. See,
that's why you might have seen me making the facial convulsions. I'm like, I don't know.
Hey, listen. Lamar Jackson refused to look off Mark Andrews and literally just dead-eyed him for a little like 5 minutes. Okay, so I literally dead-eyed the fact that the Bucs won that game. Okay, and you picked. I'm sorry, the Packers won the game. You picked it off and took it right back to the house. All right. Yes, Alex, there might be a low blow, but nothing was worse of a low blow than what was on Twitter when they were saying Buffalo fans were going to donate to Lamar Jackson's charity, and the picture they used was Lamar Jackson laying down after getting sacked on the Bills logo. All right.
Hey, but you know what? If you're going to talk that kind of trash, throwing money at dudes' charity is a good way to balance out the karma. I'm not going to front on that.
But they picked a picture of him on the ground on the Buffalo Bills logo.
Listen, we're trying to give credit to the defense. I thought that's what we were doing earlier.
Not when you're trying to give the damn charity.
Hey, it could be worse. They could have left one of those famous memes. Is this your king? I'm just saying.
Listen,
your eyes went up. Oh my God.
Listen, speaking of is this your king? We mentioned Urban Meyer last week.
Nice transition. There you go. Okay.
Going into the Jacksonville Jaguars job today, Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields. We'll get to them.
That's your king, Bobby Blackjack.
We'll get to them in a minute, Bobby. Let me get this off my chest.
Just the last thing, and I'll let you go. As far as Bobby's concerned in the NBA, that is his king. He's right. I didn't say it was a smart decision. I just said I get him where he's coming from.
Now speaking of decisions, now this becomes a decision.
Yes.
Justin Fields went to Ohio State right as Urban Meyer was walking out the door, and Ryan Day was ushered as the head coach. Right. Urban Meyer now is the Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. And now the question, Kyle, becomes, listen, we all know Trevor Lawrence should be the first overall pick, and this contract should be signed. His jersey should be on sale before they even make the pick. All right. If I even see the night of the NFL draft that the Jacksonville Jaguars take more than 2 minutes to make this damn selection, they should forfeit the damn pick. All right.
Yeah, don't run that clock out. Okay. We know you're not waiting for a damn trade. Okay.
All right. Unless it's Deshaun Watson. I digress.
Look at this conspiracy theorist up in this beast.
All I'm saying is, a lot of people have asked me what I've had people ask me in DMs or Messenger. Does Justin Fields make Urban Meyer's decision a little different? Does he make? I don't either. But Kyle, do you think if you're Urban Meyer, does it make you want to think just a little bit?
No, okay. and I think, and if it's purely from a football perspective, cool. And let's remember, at the end of the day, something to lend credence to those making the Justin Fields defense is Urban Meyer's made it pretty clear that he's going to be in this capacity as a true head coach, meaning he's going to delegate like a lot of people believe head coaches should, right? This whole fad of head coaches calling plays and all this, I shouldn't call it a fad, but insistence and ego. I'm the head coach. I'm going to call the plays for my side of the ball, and et cetera, et cetera. From what we're led to understand so far, Urban Meyer's not going to do that, right? He's going to be delegating, coordinators going to be making calls, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He might be in a position to dictate to the coordinators, listen, bitches, I want Justin Fields. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but if for the conspiracy theorists out there, Urban Meyer does have enough, I'll say confidence rather than ego, that if that's how he feels, that's what's going to happen. But Urban Meyer hasn't really been connected to the program when Justin Fields was present. And it's not like he's an alumnus. And it's not like dude doesn't have a career of being a damn coach mercenary. Granted, there's some NCAA basketball that better fit that description. And hell, I can throw the Bobby Petrino defense in at the NCAA football myself. He's not that bad. But loyalty isn't something, and I'm not saying this in a negative fashion, he hasn't been at programs long enough to be that ingrained into the culture. It's not like he's an alumnus in this situation, I don't think. So what the hell does Urban Meyer owe to Ohio State to have to pick Justin Fields? And again, I'm not saying that, again, in an angry fashion. I'm just like, my mind is boggled to how we got here.
I mean, the other part is Justin Fields is kind of like the hometown kid. He's from Georgia, which is also Trevor Lawrence. It was just an interesting idea that is okay about Ohio State and Urban Meyer. But Kyle, here's another thing. The New York Giants this week hired your defensive coordinator, Robert Slade, to be a head coach over there. Does that former 49 defensive coordinator? I think he was an outstanding hire by the Giants, by the Jets, by the way. Great hire.
I'm intrigued.
Kyle, does the hiring of a defensive-minded head coach potentially change what the Jets do at number 2? Does Fields fall to number 2? Because to me, if they would have hired an offensive head coach, I would have thought, if it's like for Eric Bieniemy or even Arthur Smith, they would have went and got a quarterback. Does that change what the Jets do at number 2? Because as we learned, Sam Darnold's not a bad quarterback when he's actually standing up.
There's things in play here I want to get out the way. First of all, your theory isn't bad. But what about the concept of an offensive-minded coach feeling himself, thinking he can develop a guy? That would lend itself to keeping Sam Darnold, would it not? And here's the best thing. If that's one who wants to say with the Jets, which I don't know that, I don't have that kind of access, whatever. But if Darnold is wanting to stay the guy with the Jets, the best defense in that happening is one Adam Gase. The amount of cred, or rather discred, I should say, towards Adam Gase is that people are looking at his down year, Darnold, being Gase's fault, generally speaking. They're kind of giving him a pass because he was stuck with the guy that does this. Okay? So from that standpoint, I think a defensive guy is going to defer to whatever his offensive counterpart would prefer. Let's say, for example, Bieniemy doesn't get a head coaching gig, but the Jets throw a butt ton of, I don't think this will happen, by the way, but throws a butt ton of money at him. I could see plenty of reason for him to draft a guy that is more to his style of offense, or perhaps he believes Sam Darnold already is that guy. It's a very interesting situation. Bobby Blackjack, what do you got, partner?
The Jets are bringing in your guy from the Niners for offensive coordinator.
They surely are.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, then. So in that case, I feel like they're going to keep Darnold if that's the case.
Well, then, Kyle,
hold on. I think you keep Darnold, and you get either one of the top 2 receivers and a running back, or you get that lineman and just give him some weapons now.
Here's my question, because they drafted Mekhi Becton in the top 10 last year.
There you go.
He's your left tackle.
Right.
Beck, now mind you, people say Penny Swai from Oregon is much better. If you ask our man Cortland Griffin over at 3-Point Conversion, check out also their NFL mock draft. Him and Derek Worley put out an outstanding mock draft literally about 3 hours ago.
I think Cortland had 1 through 16 picks.
No, actually, him and Derek both did 1 through 32. So they dropped both of them.
But Cortland's portion is 1 through 16, and then
No, they both did it. They both did it actually.
They both did the 32.
Yep.
Excuse me. Carry on.
It was an outstanding article. My question, because Cortland has said before that Suwai might be better on the right side than the left side.
Mhm.
If you already have Beckton on the left side, to Bobby's point, do you go get one of the receivers, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, or do you take the best defensive player in the draft with your brand new defensive head coach and you unleash Micah Parsons like a linebacker possessed? Because remember, he wore the number 11 at Penn State, and we all know what the number 11 at Penn State means at linebacker.
Absolutely. The receiving core situation with the Jets isn't terrible.
It's trash.
A lot of problems are surrounding injuries as well. Let's be honest, right? It's not as, like you say, it's trash. I think they have a better core than the Patriots. Yeah, I know I'm setting the bar
That's
low.
not saying much, Kyle.
I literally just said I'm setting the bar low. But if we're going to talk about trash cores, let's put trash cores out there. I think the Jets are middle of the pack, and if they stay healthy, that's the big if. And you're in a situation where what you said, I think, is the way the Jets need to go. Best available at the pick.
So that means where does Justin? If Justin Fields is not the guy at 2 to the Jets, I think Justin Fields. I think he slides. Now, I know we talk about no. There's no way Miami takes a quarterback at 3.
Right, because they're going to have Tua or Deshaun, essentially.
Yeah, so they're going to take a quarterback at 3, all right? And even if Miami gets into 3 and they get Tua, there's no way they take a quarterback at 3.
Right.
All right? Atlanta becomes the hot spot at 4.
I was about to make a joke that he could be groomed for your boy.
Listen, I mean, I'm not hating on Justin Fields, okay? I would rather have Justin Fields than Zach Wilson. I really would, all right?
Here he comes.
I'd rather have Justin Fields over Zach Wilson than over Trey Lance. Danny Thompson at 9:43 on Martin Luther King Day on January 18th. I want Micah Parsons in Atlanta.
Mark it, Bobby Blackjack.
I want Micah Parsons. All right. Atlanta can't hold water. At least Atlanta would draft a guy who can tackle. Okay. Atlanta has 4 guys on defense who can tackle. All right. All right. Keanu Neal, who's barely held the field half the time. We all know how good our Deion Jones is at linebacker. We all know how good Grady Jarrett is. All right.
I do like Grady Jarrett very much.
Okay. So you got those 2. All right. Dante Fowler didn't work very well. All right. Any other pass rusher?
He took the shot, but yeah, he's not working out.
He ain't working out either. The pass rushing didn't work out so well. No. AJ Terrell got better as the season gone along. Okay. He got rid of Jamar Chase out of his mind. And guess what? He actually started playing the second half of the season. All right. Jamar Chase was still in his dreams the first 6 games of the season. All I'm saying is this. Atlanta has issues tackling people and getting to the passer. Okay.
Fair.
I don't want to edge rusher at 4 because I don't think none of the guys, no offense, are top 4 material. But what I would say is Micah Parsons can play inside and outside. If I got Deion Jones coming down the middle, I got Micah Parsons can play both sides. Atlanta needs all the defensive help they can get. I can squeeze another year out of Matt Ryan and Arthur Smith's play action offense. Somehow we can find a running back other than Todd Gurley.
I mean, is there a junior that you like?
Huh?
Is there a guy in the next class in the 2022 class that you would target?
I mean, I look at Sam Howell. If it gets to be really bad, I'll look at Sam Howell at North Carolina.
That's some homer trash right there. No, here's the problem. First of all, you're thinking like a homer, and second, you aren't thinking third dimensionally, as Doc Brown says. What about this concept? You go in, you bring in Justin Fields, okay, and being NFL franchises doing something I don't like is what I'm basing this on. Let me lead that first.
Okay.
Matt Ryan somehow or another gets moved and they bring in Justin Fields. And now you're in a situation where the cap is cleared up a bit and they can acquire a free agent to help on the defensive side.
And Atlanta gets destroyed.
What's that?
Atlanta gets destroyed if they move Ryan this year. That's the problem.
What's the penalty they got on him? And how do they get destroyed? If it's a trade, they take the contract, right?
No, because the cap penalty, the cap hole is It's a penalty. I mean, it's a cap hold because of Matt Ryan's number.
For a trade?
Yeah, it's like $40 million that Atlanta will have against the cap.
I don't know the details of his deal.
It's a ridiculous number, and you have to think you're not going to get fair value for Matt Ryan, okay? Nobody's hand. It's like the NBA where you got to trade salaries. You basically say the 49ers should be if the 49ers should be the team to trade for Matt Ryan, just give it a hypothetical example. Hypothetically.
Yeah.
You're not giving up the first round pick for Matt Ryan. You already know that.
Oh, sure.
So it's more likely going to be like a third and a fifth.
I was thinking a third, actually. And he was a third for a rental. Sure.
A third and a fifth, okay? And Ryan's got 2 years on his contract. A third and a fifth, all right? That's not going to help Atlanta's salary cap situation. Ryan's still on the books.
Okay. I didn't know that was the detail of his contract.
It's dead money. It's dead money on the cap because of the bonuses and everything else.
The same thing you said is what I thought would work for me is it would be a situation the team just wants a quarterback, and I really thought Matt Ryan's number was lower. So if I'm wrong there, hey, you're changing my mind too.
It's a big number.
Yeah. Okay. And again, I haven't looked it up. I'm just postulating. But okay, if his number's awful, it's awful. That's what it is.
And I think we wait a year. We wait a year and see what the quarterback class is like next year. Desmond Ridder. I like Desmond Ridder of Cincinnati. There's a couple quarterbacks in the class. I guess it's not as deep. It's not as deep as this class. And I will not. I'm not going to say, oh, the great quarterback class next year. No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there's going to be a quarterback into next year's class anyway. All right, because Matt Ryan's cap number is so large. And the dead cap number is the part that scares me.
Right.
You want to go, for me, if I'm Atlanta, I'm drafting all defense. Atlanta it's not the fact we can't stop people. We have no depth either. If somebody gets hurt, Atlanta's calling Publix employees to go play defense.
Hey, you got a Falcons jersey? Show up on Sunday. Yeah, right.
Listen, they're using Big Lots employees in the secondary last year. It's how bad Atlanta needs to use the draft on defense. A la what other teams have done in the last few years. That's what I'm saying. I want Michael Parsons. If Atlanta takes a quarterback, it is what it is.
Let me ask you this.
I want to win now.
If they take Justin Fields and do the rest of the draft picks at defense, are you satisfied?
It depends on what we get.
And that's a good answer. I'll take that.
It depends on what we're getting. Because to me, Michael Parsons can fill a hole right now. It's a person that tackles. Atlanta just signed and says tackles.
I keep laughing at it's the person that tackles stuff. I love it, dude.
All right. Speaking of things that tackle, let's talk about the NBA real quick before we get into Mount Rushmore. Well, Kyle, we all know about Brooklyn and Kevin Durant and James Harden and Kyrie Irving. The good news is
Bobby's Facebook.
Yes. Listen, you saw Kevin Durant's face earlier. Listen, we all know about the Harden and KD show. Their first game together was electric. Durant 42 points. Harden with triple-double.
Sorry. You said it's electric. That's your fault.
Listen, and that's what
Thank you.
And James Harden lost weight, by the way. I mean, you saw James Harden saying like he was completely skinnier compared to like in Houston. He went straight from, Sherman Klump to Buddy Love in literally like 2 days.
Oh, so many haters.
But we talk about, like I said, before I jump on the Brooklyn bandwagon, I'm not going to on the show tonight. It's one game. And then they're playing Milwaukee tonight on TNT. I want to say that game is over. Bobby's going to probably put the score in there unless Brooklyn loses, so I'll check the score in a minute. The other news of the NBA day today, Kyle, this is something that I deem it to be sad, and it's also alarming at the same time. Cleveland Cavaliers second-year guard Kevin Porter has basically been put on the trading block and basically probably will never play a minute again for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Porter, who was away from the team already due to a incident in the offseason, which he got arrested for a domestic situation and being a kid, was held away from the team and actually decided to show up and started a food fight with the general manager, and he was pissed because his locker was given away to Taurean Prince. Porter, who is now away from the team, more likely will be released.
Shouldn't he be?
Kevin Porter, who had top 15 talent last year in the draft, Kyle, slid to the end of the first round, early part of the second round, Kyle, because of maturity issues.
You don't say.
Now, this kid who left school as a freshman doesn't have much of a situation, could potentially have his contract terminated and the Cavs not pay him anything.
Hey, there's always Europe.
In the middle of a pandemic.
Ooh.
It exactly wasn't the smartest thing by Kevin Porter Jr. And people ask the question, what team is going to pick him up? I'm not touching this man with a 10-foot pole. He needs some serious help. And I'm not really trying to make a light of the situation because, we don't know what people are going through. We don't. I just think that it's very alarming at a kid this age just to literally just start throwing food at your general manager and basically causing a hell because you had to give your locker up because you're not even with the team.
Hey, Danny Thompson, why you start the show at 9 p.m.? Because you're the host.
Listen. I mean, he went straight Rick James on your couch inside the locker room. Like,
I'm not gonna mess up another man's couch. Are you out your mind? Yeah, I messed up his couch.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he also messed up another man's locker. Like, this is
true.
It's different. I understand people say it's the principle. The fact that, well, listen, the principle, the fact was he was away from the team. There was and he was away from the team trying to get himself together. Like, it was maturity issues and a whole off the court issue that could potentially get him in jail for gun charge and assault. All right. Yeah, he already had a gun incident as well too. We're still going here. He's had multiple incidents off the court, and if you're trying to show that you want to be part of a team, you got to do better. You got to do better. So I hope that whatever happens to Kevin Porter, I hope that he goes to find some help. And if he can find some help, he does have a lot of talent. But I mean, I hope this doesn't end his career before we have a chance to even see it take off. Well, Kyle, speaking of taking off, before we take off for tonight, it's time for our favorite segment of the show. We didn't even do it last week, Kyle. I gave you a break last week. It's time for me and Kyle's favorite segment, which is the Mount Rushmore segment. And normally we take 15 minutes from Mount Rushmore, but since we don't have 15 minutes, we're going to do this in a grand total of 8 minutes. All right.
Lightning round.
For those who know Mount Rushmore, Kyle and I go through a series of topics and pick our top 4, which is Mount Rushmore. Now, mind you, Kyle doesn't know the topic until we actually start the show.
I do not.
And this one,
no, we start the segment.
Yeah, exactly. Kyle literally knows right about now what the topic is. And so, Kyle, as we do Mount Rushmore tonight, Kyle, I started watching some stuff the other night, and I realized there was a big announcement in sports that people don't even know.
Okay.
And Kyle, since you're wearing that jersey, it involves the city of Tampa. WrestleMania will be hosted in Tampa for the second consecutive year over 2 nights in the middle of April. It was announced by NBC. Okay. So, Kyle, in the spirit of
oh boy,
the WWE, Kyle, what is your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestlers?
Oh, brother.
Not the best, but you're Mount Rushmore.
Let me tell you something, brother. No, this is funny because there was an episode of the 1-0 show where I made fun of the fact that UCF fan haters were complaining about head coach Josh Heupel's presence at a press conference. So 2 of the wrestlers on my Mount Rushmore, the character, air quotes, I did. And check out the 1-0 show on Facebook. You'll know it because it's the one where I have my my John Lennon sunglasses on in the thumbnail. So go to the 1-0 show Facebook page and check that out. You'll see what I'm talking about. But in there, I do an impression that's an evocation of 2 wrestlers at once. One of them, you gotta love Hulkamania, brother. Hulk Hogan. Oh, yeah, you better know what the second one is. Because if you don't know what the second one is, you are truly a WWE/WWF fan. Yeah! Randy, the Macho Man, Randy Savage, of course, right? I mean, if you don't have them, I can't help you. I'm not saying you're wrong outright. I'm not a huge pro wrestling guy. I was a little bit as a kid. But at the end of the day, when you can switch out Richard Sherman talking trash on Crabtree in the back of the end zone with Randy Macho Man Savage in a YouTube video, that tells you everything you need to know. Third, listen, man, I'm dressed up as Maui, for Christ's sake. Of course I'm going to ask if you can smell what The Rock is cooking. Now, maybe that'll, refer to me as some sort of a pain in the butt bandwagoneer, and you're probably right. But I have to make that pick. And at the end of the day, the last one I'm going to put was popular at the time and is kind of faded. It's the most positive feeling I've ever had about a person dressed up in a police officer uniform. But I was always a fan of Big Boss Man.
Okay.
So that rounds it out. And again, not saying they're the best wrestlers. They were just the guys I liked the most. I got Big Boss Man, The Rock, Randy Macho Man Savage, and Hulk Hogan. Danny Thompson.
Bobby, what you got up there, Bobby? I think you should be able to contribute. You're from New Jersey. You should have something.
I haven't watched wrestling in quite a long time, so I'm gonna go with what I remember. Of course, Kyle mentioned The Rock. I used to remember. I watched his dad wrestle, Rocky
Nice.
Johnson,
Yes.
for years.
That's telling
I used to
Bobby's age, by the way.
I don't know. I used to love Tony Atlas when he was, back in those days.
Oh, he's
Okay.
throwing
And
it
of
back.
course, George the Animal Steel was my favorite.
Okay.
And how can I diss my boy Gene Snitsky? He's part of the family, so
Damn,
Hey,
he's
let's-
going old school. Okay. Nothing
I mean,
wrong with it.
Snitsky's part of the I-95 family, so Bobby has to put him in the Mount Rushmore. Otherwise, he's going to chokeslam him.
and he will. So
And you can.
Snitsky's a big guy, by the way. Check out. Big shout out to Gene Snitsky, a part of the family.
You're gonna chokeslam Bobby Blackjack. He's not going to be built like I forget the shoot. Who plays Tyrion Lannister again? It was going to be a great joke, except I forgot his name.
You lost the joke, so no, sir. You're not going to win.
Damn
Nope.
it. Anyways, it was good, but right, it would have been funny. Anyway, go ahead.
You Lamar Jackson, sir. You Lamar Jackson.
I totally Lamar Jackson. It was my turn. I get it.
All right, so my Mount Rushmore is a little different. So growing up in the South, WCW was always great. And
Fair.
so my first memory of wrestling was Ric Flair. The Road,
Woo!
Space Mountain, Space Odyssey, the theme itself, walking down with a robe. Listen, he was the only grown man that could make a robe look good. Okay. Jet flying, limousine riding, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun. All right.
You're going to pick Ric Flair and you're not going to give me a woo? That's unacceptable.
Woo! But
There it is. Yeah.
second on my list, like I say, it's not the greatest wrestler of all time. It's just my favorite wrestler, Shawn Michaels in the 90s. Listen, Heartbreak Kid. I mean, listen, the only thing I couldn't do was a super kick because my leg couldn't get that high.
That's right.
Everybody, I wanted to be Shawn Michaels. I used to wrestle as Shawn Michaels as a child, playing in the living room of one of my childhood friends. We do that all the time. Like I said, Shawn Michaels, and of course, The Rock is on my list. But The Rock is on my list for multiple reasons. Okay, not to mention the fact he was a great wrestler, he's a great actor. But I actually have a story about The Rock. I might tell it real quick. So back in my olden days, I used to work at a restaurant called Morton's Chicago Steakhouse.
Nice.
I used to wait tables. I used to bus tables actually as a busser. And one night I was in Charlotte. It was my sophomore and freshman year of college. And that night, SmackDown, that was on Thursdays at the time, was filming at the Charlotte Coliseum that night. And that's the night where people remember, that's the night where Stone Cold blew up the DX bus in the back of the parking lot. Well, that night I was closing the restaurant the night as a busboy, and we had a table at 10:35 at night, and the table said The Rock. And I'm like, okay, it's about 10:30 happens, nobody's in the restaurant. 10:45 happens, nobody's in the restaurant. 11 o'clock goes, I'm like, this dude's not coming. 11:05, this guy walks in the door with a cutoff shirt and some sweatpants and a baseball hat, the old school visor, sitting on his cell phone. He was talking to his wife. All right. So my job, you bring him bread and water, you make sure he's good, and so forth. If you've been to Morton's, you understand what I'm talking about. So I bring him bread and water. He's on his cell phone. And I'm sitting here waiting because we can't leave the restaurant until this guy leaves. We got to close up. So 15 minutes goes by. And, I'm walking around the restaurant, cleaning things up. And he comes to me and says, "Excuse me." I said, "Yes." He said, "I got a question about this water." I said, "It's okay. So what is your question?" "It doesn't matter what my question is." And I'm like,
Yes.
and he just starts laughing his ass off.
It doesn't matter what my question is. That's brilliant, Danny Thompson.
So he's over here and he's talking to us as me and two of the servers, the cook, the bartender, and the manager on duty at night, because Sherry knows, my boss Sherry Bennington, one of the sweetest people in the world. She knows Barack because he always comes in the restaurant when he's in town. So this is when The Mummy was being filmed. All right.
Oh, okay.
The Mummy's being filmed during this time.
So you're referring to his role as the Scorpion King, yes.
Well, yes. So this is the original, the first original Mummy. So he had just finished the movie and he's over here talking to us. Now, mind you, The Rock is sitting here having a conversation with us, talking about bread, water, steak, and The Mummy.
Because why not?
Why not? So The Rock tells the story, and one of the stories was about being in I forgot where they were filming it, but it was nothing but sand everywhere. Okay, they're in the middle of the desert, sand blowing everywhere. And he was telling a story about this woman that was on set, and she had, of course, most women when they see The Rock, they have a crush on him. It is what it is. It's The Rock.
I have a crush on him. Wait, what?
That's between y'all two.
Bobby's face was awesome.
Exactly, Bobby. I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but back to the story. So the Rock's telling us a story about there was a part where I guess he had to wear, I think it was a thong, he was saying, because of the fact of the wind and everything else, because of what he was wearing. And he said there was I think it was one of the makeup artists. He said that there was sand going in places and crevices that I don't even want to imagine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so he was like, he said, yeah. So there was this lady on their set, and he was over there, and he said, so he asked her, he's just in a joking manner. One of the Rock's famous saying was, do you like strudel? And so he walked up to the makeup lady, because they were really cool. He said, do you like strudel? And she starts busting out laughing. And the Rock's tone, you like strudel? And he raised his eyebrow, and I literally pissed my pants. It was hilarious. So he took about an hour to eat, and he left the restaurant. And mind you, The Rock might have spent maybe $100 on dinner, but he left almost $500 in tips. He tipped the bartender, he tipped my boss, he tipped me, he tipped everybody on the way out. And that was the most entertaining hour I have. So he hits my Mount Rushmore just because of that.
On
GP. And last but not least, how can you not have a Mount Rushmore and not have Stone Cold Steve Austin on there?
Fair.
All right. Stone Cold Steve Austin was the reason why I thought shotgunning a beer would be fun.
You're not the only American that made that mistake.
I'm just saying. Thank you, Bobby. He made shotgunning a beer fun. By the way, James Harden has a 30-point triple-double for the second consecutive game for Brooklyn. All right. So, see, Bobby, I gave the Nets credit. All right. So, Stone Cold, everybody wanted to do the Stone Cold Stunner. Everybody wanted to do, you couldn't do middle fingers in school. The same way with the DX symbol. You couldn't do neither one in school, but you tried to get away with as much as possible. So, Stone Cold, The Rock, Shawn Michaels, and Ric Flair are my Mount Rushmore tonight. So, all right, guys. Any shouts before we go? I know we're a little bit over tonight. Bobby?
Yeah, actually, we're finally getting Chris Pardo onto our 95 Sports Network.
Nice.
His daily sports betting show will getting him ready to go on the air tomorrow or probably Wednesday. So he'll be on 95 4 o'clock Eastern time, 2 o'clock Central time every day, talking sports betting, and then 11 o'clock in the morning on weekends.
Hey, listen, so if you're trying to make some money, go listen to Chris's show. Very simple.
Boom.
There you go. Big shouts to Bobby in the studio. As you see, his Carmelo jersey, his Jordan jersey, and that is a Lakers Kobe. Is that Lakers throwback Kobe?
It's actually Terry DeHare.
Oh, but so I was going to say either Kobe or Terry DeHare. I couldn't see the writing.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Terry DeHare is a Seton Hall legend. Got him to the Final Four.
And my next jersey will be, right what I'm watching right now, will be a 13 Harden jersey. Will be next.
Oh,
Bobby, if it's not the Brooklyn, it's not the New Jersey Nets jersey, don't you buy it? I want the old school Nets jersey back there, Bobby.
I have one for Petrovic upstairs.
That should be down there. That should be down there, Bobby.
I'm too fat to wear the ones up here.
That's fine. That's fine. But, you know what, Bobby? Speaking of that, if you listen to watch the show, we see a montage of numbers go through from 30 down to 1 as a countdown. All right, Bobby. We need Drazen Petrovic at number 3.
No. See, here's what's going on. He's complaining about Jeter. Here's what you do: you get SpongeBob SquarePants holding up the number 2. I wasn't finished. Okay, Drazen Petrovic should be 3. Derek Jeter should be replaced.
Well, I should make all. I should do one. I will do that when my workload gets a little bit lesser. I should do one for each sport.
No, because Derek Jeter does. See, for me, I don't mind the different sports because this is what we talk about. All right. Derek Jeter should be removed. His number 2 should be removed and replaced with Matt Ryan's number 2.
Oh, stop it. How about somebody who's actually a first ballot Hall of Famer? I said it, Danny Thompson. I said it.
Matt Ryan should be number 2 on this show, okay?
Yeah,
Bobby,
number 2.
What other numbers did you have for Yankees on there that needs to be removed?
Don Mattingly.
Yeah, how do you put Don Mattingly and Michael Jordan on the same number?
I had 3 lucky numbers: 7, 17, 23. 23 because I grew up rooting for Jordan and Mattingly.
No, but how do you put Jordan and Mattingly on the same number? That's all Jordan. 23 is sacred, okay?
That's fair.
It's sacred for Mattingly.
Oh boy.
Are you comparing Don Mattingly to Michael Jordan?
I'm pretty sure he is.
And Yankee lore is my favorite ball player of all time.
I get that. My favorite Met of all time is wow. Let's see. Is he a Piazza? I was a big Todd Hundley guy as a kid. I love Todd Hundley as a kid.
I'll put it this way: they never voted. They never voted
Mattingly's not even
Don
the GOAT.
Mattingly the athlete of the decade in anything I've seen. I'm just
Don
saying.
Mattingly's not even the GOAT of the Yankees.
Here's to me.
Here we go.
Listen, I can't believe you compared GOATs to Don Mattingly. Okay, I can't believe you did that, Bobby.
My favorite.
Listen,
I have A-Rod on there too.
he's got to go too. He's got to go too. All right. A-Rod's got, was he? He got A-Rod 13.
Yeah.
Okay, we can put James Harden 13. We can go get James Harden for the next 13.
Was Dan Marino 13 or 16?
You know,
I don't remember.
no, Bob, no, Kyle, good point. Dan Marino should be 13.
What
There we
can
go.
I say except you're welcome?
Dan Marino should be 13. No, there should be no New York Yankee anywhere near this show.
Oh, such a hater. I'm sorry.
I'm not hating.
Jeter should get a pass, dude. You're wrong on this one. Oh, you know what? You can take Jeter off, but at 3, put in Babe Ruth. That'll shut him up.
By the way, the last time I have right on my wall, right in front of me, I have my ticket in a frame. The last time I was at Shea Stadium was when we won the World Series in 2000. Yankees and Mets. I was there.
All right, Bobby. We'll see you later. All right. Bye,
Bobby
Bobby.
Blackjack, ladies and gentlemen.
He's here all week, ladies and gentlemen. He's also the super producer of I-95. And Bobby, when is the Blackjack show on so people can find you?
I'm going to start doing probably 11 o'clock, this week or next. Because now we have a wrestling. Oh, by the way, if you're a pro wrestling fan, we have a daily show, 10 o'clock in the morning, Monday to Thursday. It's on every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time.
Ryan Joy, right?
Ryan Joy, yep.
The cornerstone of every nutritious breakfast.
Listen, cereal and pro wrestling, because especially if watch, with wrestling being on almost every single day of the week, it's a good way to recap. That's Bobby Blackjack of New Jersey College. Shout out before we go, sir. We're over tonight.
Great time all the way around. Love being in. I would give a longer list, but we're over anyway. Great show tonight. Thank you again, Bobby. Danny Thompson.
Well, big shouts to everybody in the chat tonight. Alex, Rodney, who finally came back after once. Maybe trying to catch all the Mellow Ball trolls in the Hornets chat room. Also, Randy Sims and the lovely Precious.
The lovely Precious.
And before we go, today is Martin Luther King Day. There's so many quotes I can possibly use from Martin Luther King to just go over this day itself. With the country in turmoil the way it's been for the last, who knows? I've lost track of the length of time of what's been going on. The words that Martin Luther King has said should be ringing true throughout the day. And not just today, but going forward tomorrow, the next day, and going forward in the future. Hopefully that as the country tries to reheal itself from what's been going on, I mean, me and Kyle, if we really wanted to, can expand on this for hours in different ways, different forms, and different ways of saying it. I think a lot of the words that Martin Luther King had said needs to be followed, not just by people of color, but people of non-color as well too. I think a lot of it would ease a lot of the tensions in the country the way it is. For certain parts of this country, not everybody thinks a certain way. There's a certain part of this country that thinks a certain way, especially when it comes to minorities. And a lot of this has to change. I mean, hopefully with a new president and vice president, this will, we can make a turn in a different direction. So, Coretta Scott King, everything she has done to make this a holiday, and to only be one of two Americans in general, Kyle, that have their own holiday. He's one of two. So that's just the impact he had. So like I said, I don't want to go into too much in the social justice. I'm just not in the mood to do it tonight. But what I'm in the mood for is we're getting ready for Thursday's show. Kyle and I will be back to preview the NFC and AFC Championship game. I have an update on Patrick Mahomes.
Conference Championship Sunday.
Yeah, Conference Championship Sunday. Getting ready for the Nickelodeon Super Bowl and the greatest television performance of all time. It better be.
Put SpongeBob in the countdown, damn it.
Listen, SpongeBob needs to be all up in the end zone on Super Bowl Sunday. I promise you I might riot. So, for myself and Kyle, please check us out both at the 3pointconversion.com. If you're an NFL fan, check out the actual NFL mock draft with Derek Rowley and Cortland Griffin. Outstanding article. Also, we did talk about wrestling. Eric Urban announced his wrestling article about the number in the Royal Rumble that is really kind of unlucky. check that article out. Plus, we have articles coming out the rest of the week. We do have the NFC and AFC championship game previews coming out later on this week. And Raphael and I will be posting stuff for the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets are off on Wednesday because of the Washington Wizards having a 7th player test positive for COVID today. Another member of the front office. The Wizards will not be playing on Wednesday. They can't even travel. And they might be able to attempt to practice on Wednesday if they can find a 7th body. Yeah. That good old COVID. So for myself and Kyle and the ghost of Derek Jeter on this beginning of this intro of this show, I'm Danny Thompson. Check me out on Wednesday. I know it's no post-game show for the Hornets, but I will do a early season recap of the show. So we'll catch you guys later. You guys have a wonderful night. Stay safe and stay away from COVID. Peace.
Yeah.